Thankfully, the exit is very clearly labeled by Comic Sans, because you can't miss Comic Sans. It just glares out from any other font. I could make an Undertale reference here, but Comic Sans existed before Undertale, and I don't really have anything relevant to say besides it's a font, and we're not going to have a bad time, I guess. We could be. Like, if you haven't played this game before and you're unfamiliar with this part can certainly be a bad time, because you have to know to knock down the wires that are directly behind you and close to the water. Those aren't the most obvious ones. And the indication that you're supposed to keep moving is that the music kind of quiets down. It doesn't have those psycho violin squeaks, shrills, don't know what you'd call them. Skulls? S-C-H-O-O-L, skull. Or in this game's case, S-Q-U-I-R-R-E-L, skull. Okay, where are you? There you are. And the other... let's see, where is... yeah, okay, I got to stay in here. Straight ahead is the door. Sometimes I just don't know where the door is in here. But it's directly in front of you. Should be obvious. I mean, I got on Conker's case for not noticing that his house was directly in front of him upon leaving the Cock and Plucker, but I get turned around too, and I'm not even drunk. I've never drank besides, like, a little bit of maybe slightly alcoholic apple cider. Not enough to become a shambled mess.
Who wants to be a millionaire? Me, actually.
That makes me think. There was this video that I watched recently. Now, I think I already mentioned it in the Twilight Princess thing, but a video of just stupid, quiz show answers. And one of them was not a stupid quiz show answer, but it was someone on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire who, like, was really confident in his answer, and it was really easy answer. Like, the question indicated that there were these initials that spell A-C-H-O-O, achoo, and it was about some, like, nasal outburst of like, mucus or whatever. And so the answer was very clearly sneeze, but he said cough and said final answer on accident. And it was just, like, the most depressing thing, like, oh, shoot. It's a really bad mistake to make. I would hate to be in that guy's position, just on national TV. And it was an honest mistake. Just, you know, it could happen to anyone. Just kind of sucks to actually see it happen. The B at the top is probably the easiest one to avoid, because it's, you know, it's moving in a circle and not just left and right. And you have to make sure that you press B, so many Bs, whenever you're at the height of that jump, because if you don't press B, then you will miss this whole sequence. Climb up the ladder, Conker. I know that you're not super-duper crazy fast on the ladder like Gordon Freeman or Hat Kid, because A Hat in Time is going to come out in 2017, along with Ukulele. Ukulele being made by the old Rare people, not the same ones who made this game, but certainly some of them. Like the same people as Banjo-Kazooie, and I might have talked about that before too, but who knows. Another game that has fart humor in it, and scat humor. Not to the same extent as Conker, I'm sure, but it'll be good times. What are you looking at? It's never really explained why the water here is green. The water in the bucket above, like, whenever we were fighting the Haybot, and breaking open those pipes, the water that came out of the pipes was green. but they emptied out the water in the bucket above the farmhouse or barn words, and that confuses me because it implies that the water came from the bucket and the water in the bucket was blue, but then whenever it entered the barn house, the basement or whatever area that would be, it's green, and this water is green. So I have no idea what the water connection is with everything. Like, this doesn't exactly look like sewage water to me. This looks like maybe some kind of vegetated water, but then it looks more like sewage whenever it's in the basement. No idea. It's not important. Is it important? I don't know. I just thought that she had a nice butt. I was attempting to quote Metal Gear Awesome 2, but I have no idea what the lines are to that. I haven't seen that in ages. There is a scene over there that I could show, but I probably won't. All you need to know is that there's a bridge. Conker falls off the bridge, doesn't get to where he needs to go, and then you have to climb up a seemingly invisible rope because it clashes with the background.
What are you looking at?
Nothing, sire.
And that's all I have to say on the matter.
Oh, I think I can hear him.
Can you now? You did it! You discovered that there was a hole in the table.
I think I have found the problem. Now, we have here
Blueprints out of nowhere.
the table.
Different blueprints from before, though.
To analyze the table closely, as I have done, most particularly,
If you look at the table, the leg of the table that's broken in a moment, because it'll zoom in on it in a second, I think.
it is a sizable one. Now, milk goes here. What happens? We have the fulcrum here.
Fulcrum.
Milk here.
Mother Fulcrum.
Next problem, not good. Milk falls off because of a gap. Yeah, that is what is the problem. The gap.
But not the clothing store.
See. And the solution?
Ah, now this is where it gets
Complicated. Now this is for the more complex stuff.
I tried many things. I tried elephants.
Yes.
Pot plants.
Pot plants. Paint pot plants.
But the one thing, and I was sure of it at the time, I was sure it was a rodent. Sure enough, it was. This one. Various squitch-tailians.
For the record, that is definitely not the scientific term for a squirrel.
To the layman, the red squirrel.
You're all layman.
This red squirrel.
Yes. Squirrel.
You've heard of them. Oh yeah, I've heard of the sun.
So,
I've heard of Earth.
We need a squirrel. And we put him here.
Yeah, okay, look at the leg on this table. Doesn't it look like if it continued, it would be way fatter than the other legs of the table?
Yes, my lord.
Because it just looks like the angle is way thicker at the top than the others.
red
It's just weird.
squirrel.
Like, if it was such a... It seems like the kind of leg that would be impossible to break. Unless the table was just built with 3 legs and part of another one. Which it was with the 3D model, I'm sure, but just...
Hi, doing? Come in now. Yeah, sit down, what I want. Oh, this place really smells.
Really, Conker.
Well, she wear like dung beetles and you roll the poo around. Knows what's for.
No, really.
If you
What
want-
do
want
dung
poo,
beetles roll poo around for?
Hey, get your ass.
Because I
in there
honestly don't know.
with These cows. Get them in there. Get them to crap, and I'll make you a bowl of poo. And you can do what the hell you like with it. Go on.
Because I know
what do you
that
like?
on your bike.
Ah,
Oh, charming.
The music in the background is great, by the way. Everything in this game is great. Except for the fact that you sometimes do things 3 times in a row with no explanation and almost no change, but I think that's forgivable. Like, it might be filler, but I don't mind. And here's the way to go. Can we hear the music? Okay, maybe, well... There we go. That's all we needed to hear. Just the fact that the music in this game, first of all, has a nice, like, jazzy tone to it in that instance, but it also fits so well with the scenery, like they actually threw those sound effects in.
Friendly type. I'm looking for some poo.
No other game does this, again. And this always bothers me a little bit. See that bullseyes? Bullseye? We'll see more bullseyes in a moment. Those are very red eyes. Now look back at the red squirrel, and he's very clearly not
He
red.
doesn't like red. What? I don't see anything red around.
Yeah, I don't see anything red around either, because you're
Here we go
orange.
again.
You were like bright, bright orange. They should call you the orange squirrel, but then if they called you the orange squirrel, then that wouldn't work as well. And then in Live and Reloaded, he's like a pale orange, because everything is grittier looking in that game. And now I'm reminded of the fact that in the development process of A Hat in Time, Jonas apparently, like, long ago, found out that when using the Unreal Engine for the game, wow, that was really acrobatic there, Conker. You just flipped like 30 times in the air when getting hit by that ball of poo. Here's the Donkey Kong section of the game. See, it's okay if Rare references Donkey Kong, because they're not ripping anyone off. But anyways... shoot, what was I saying? I know I was saying something about, like, Conker's pale fur and bullseyes. I was on a roll with that too, but I just don't remember anymore.
Now, logic would denote that something that drinks that is gonna get the screaming squits.
Screaming squits.
Ah, that looks distinctly like a target. And there we have a ball.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
That's a line that I say a lot for unknown reasons. Like, whenever I think about this game, that's the line that I think about for some reason. That looks distinctly like a target, and there we have a bowl. Yeah. Gosh, what was I talking about with bullseyes and bowls? Don't know. But you know, this part of the game is bullcrap. It's a joke. Because we're going to see a lot of bull and a lot of crap. And a lot of cow. I think that bulls can sometimes be called cows, but I don't know if cows can be called bulls. It might be like a semantics thing, but I've heard that cows can be considered males sometimes, even though most people think that they're just all female. But that could be me being wrong, I don't know. Here's the best moo ever.
Moo.
Moo.
Need to get her over there somehow.
More bullseyes. This bull also looks like a... maybe not a Disney thing, but a Warner Brothers thing. Like, I don't know exactly what character this looks like, because I don't pay much attention to the Looney Tunes, but it definitely looks like something from Looney Tunes. I know that I've talked about the graphics with this game, and... or at least the visual style of it. Conker has possibly the most amazing character model of any Nintendo 64 character. My argument for why I think this game has the best graphics of any Nintendo 64 game is Conker's expressiveness. Because he has a high polygon count face, and then also his eyes, and also the way that his mouth moves and everything, and that model is still present with him in gameplay and not just in cutscenes. Oh dear. Yeah, zoom in on that, why don't we? That does look very satisfying, I'm not gonna lie.
This is far from dignified. Oh, I hope Mavis and Olive don't see this. They'll never really admit it.
We're gonna see Mavis and Olive, I assume, in a moment. No idea what this cow's name is, but...
Oh, I'll just stay here for a while, just in case, you never know. Looks like he's just about ready to go.
Yeah, when he says that, what you're supposed to do is just kill this cow in a giant explosion just like the mouse. No real reason to do this, but you do that, and now we're gonna do it 2 more times. I think the main complaints with this game are that if you do something in this game, you have to do it 3 times. And the other main complaint, I think, is that it's, like, unfair. Because there are a lot of times when this game's controls are not the best. Like right now, for instance, controlling this bowl is some bowl, but I think it makes sense for the bowl's controls to not be very good, because you're controlling a freaking bowl. Like, I can only imagine, like, if this was real life, people do bucking bronco things all the time, and you know, like, it's the hardest thing in the world to stay on the horse in situations like that, or to stay on the bull. And I'm sure that this is easier than that is. Darn it, I missed it again. Just why do I keep pausing in the middle of words? I'm going to blame my congestion and my throat, because this is just the weather of scratchy throats and itchy anuses. You know, this is the weather for just itchy behinds. Then you scratch your anal cavity, and it sucks because then your fingers stink, or at least your one finger stinks if you only use one finger. And then you have to wash your hands like 8 times with 3 different kinds of soap, and it still smells like poop. And I don't feel like it's inappropriate to talk about this kind of thing in this game. No. Now remembering, on a completely different note, in Sunday school, whenever I was a child, I remember that, like, my only memory of Sunday school whenever I lived in Texas, and I was super young, because I don't think I went to Sunday school very often. I went to church, but just the Sunday school part with the other kids, I guess, just didn't do it for me, and I didn't go very much, but there was this one time when, maybe we were being taught about animals or something, and then the instructor, I guess, youth pastor, whoever it was, said, okay, now everyone make a cow sound. And so everyone went, moo, moo, and I went, moo, trying to make a more realistic sound. And the instructor, pastor, person, whoever it was, like, stopped and everything was silent, and he said, that's a very good cow sound. Just staring right at me, and then he continued with the lecture. And it was just kind of this weird, memorable moment, like, oh, I was the one who made the realistic cow sound. I guess I did always kind of have this mentality of, oh, I need to be the best, whenever I was in the 1st grade, and in the years to come, still, I guess. I don't really consider myself competitive, and I don't like competition, but that's still, like, the mentality that I had. And maybe there's some kind of deep ingrained mentality, I don't know, that just makes me want to be the best that there is. I want to be the very best that no one ever was. And the cow's head just lands perfectly to the left there. Why am I such a fat bastard? What was he gonna say? How was he gonna finish that sentence? I am such a fat baster of cake? I'm sure that was it.